One of the first questions that we ask ourselves, what's the magic that data analysis can bring to this particular situation? And we think it's, will we deliver the project on time? Here you can see a graph that shows the predicted and the actual, which are tightly aligned until near the end of the project. Where there's a pause in the project, we want to make sure that things align. How can we make sure that we deliver things on time? We need to predict the productivity at each site. We need to predict the completion of activities. We need to predict any disruptions, problems, or obstructions or challenges. And in short, for all of those instances, we need to predict solutions. So we set about doing the prediction modeling with Facebook Prophet, which is one of many algorithms that you can use to do predictions and forward-looking analytics. We use this because it forecasts future trends and fluctuations that use historical data. Even in the mass of data that's there from weekly, monthly, and yearly seasonal events, we're able to discern that there's a cyclical pattern. What we do is to use the intelligences gathered in that cyclical pattern to predict the future. This can also account for the effects of holidays, weather, safety alerts, COVID alerts, and that sort of thing. When we look at how we've used data in the past, we have tabular data, and we have meetings at which we try to answer questions similar to those that are in the purple squares around this border here. We find that exercise to be rather difficult. It's hard to discern trends in patterns and errors in data and those sorts of things in tables. It's difficult to get insight from this form of data presentation. But what we can do now today with the tools that we have is to present extremely detailed and high resolution graphics that show us trends and enable us to use multiple dimensions, including color, time, activity, site, project manager, and all sorts of different attributes that we did not previously have access to via the old method of doing things. What we can do now is to present an interface to items that are familiar, such as bar charts and maps and cumulative totals of events. This is possible for us to do using Power BI and data processing tools because we've thought through the situations that each individual meeting may encounter, so that these dashboards can be custom configured to include the data necessary to inform a conversation and to reduce the time to insight in any given setting or context. So for example, here we're looking at a cumulative total of baseline and planned and actual expenditures. And you can see that there's a large uptake in the cumulative, followed by a flat spot, which then is accompanied by a short hike right here. And gradually we're moving over in this area. This kind of trend analysis shows us the impact of individual events. If we want to focus in on a particular project or site, in order to make this more specific to a given set of circumstances, we can use a map interface to isolate down by clicking on a site. Likewise, when we click on a site, we're able to drill in and see the particulars of that particular site. So now we're looking at the number of contracts and the workload by number of activities being managed for each project manager. We might concentrate on a site, we might concentrate on a project manager. Our point here is that you're able to see things and trends and to explain circumstances. For example, if you know that site 3 is running behind, is it possibly because that site has more activities under management than the other sites? Simple trends and patterns raise questions that you're able to answer by interacting with the dashboard and looking at different sites, different project managers, and different sets of circumstances. Likewise, we can look at time domains. So we can look at the sequence of events for a given site, a given project, or a given type of activity. By doing this, we're able to drill down and say, are there similarities between activities or sites or personnel in terms of how time is involved in the matrix of evaluation and progress? If we are able to change the way that we're doing things now, that will also point to errors, problems, and incomplete data sets, which will help us to enable future improvements. And in particular, you want to be looking at the analysis of productivity by site and by activity. If we look at productivity by site, we might be interested and concerned about things like location, weather, transport, and traffic. That sort of thing is available from external data sources, which can be integrated into these visual reports. Likewise, with activities, we might be looking at productivity by activity based on safety events, on training, equipment, or processes that we use that are different at various sites. And we might also want to examine whether we're using appropriate protocols, such as underwater protocols, or fire safety protocols, or road safety protocols, those sorts of things. In the end, by improving our prediction accuracy, we're leading toward the most important thing, and that is to be able to predict accurately what we're going to see in the future. And for us, the main challenge to that right now is the quality of our data. So we're really looking forward to working with those who are involved in this project to resolve data quality issues, such as gaps in the data. Here we see a long flat spot. There's no increase in productivity because no data was recorded. In this particular panel over here, we're looking at a certain type of data quality problem that has to do with days that are recorded in the logs, but they're in the future. So it appears that activities that could not possibly have yet occurred have been recording as having already passed. We have the month gaps that were referred to over here. The good thing about having a visual report is that you're able to say exactly where the data problems are. So we can say, these are things that you can go back and look at Site 2 Activity 5 and find out where was the problem with that data. You can drill down into the actual tables of data that were recorded, and you can see either that was false data that was recorded or there's data missing. As we improve the data collection system, which we know Group 11A was working on, we believe that we will increase the chances of having real-time analysis, and we will reduce the time to insight with accurate information. So our main patterns that we've detected so far had to do with future gap, month gap, and future data and inconsistent data. But we expect that we may well discover other issues that need to be resolved. The main advantage that we're getting is the predictive analytics will enable us to look at patterns, trends, problems, and solutions. We can look at the likelihood of a problem. We can look at the likelihood of completing a task on time based on past patterns at that site, with that project manager, with those personnel, or with those protocols, and with the system that we have in place on each of our job sites. We also will be able to say, if there is a challenge, what are the likely solutions and what is the efficacy of each of those solutions, so that people are able to predict which solution may avoid certain issues. At the same time, we'll want to ripple those into any ongoing project estimation planning and changes that might occur. To complete our presentation, we would like to say that we believe that predictive analytics are the real golden node in this particular aspect of the project. Certainly in the interim phase, a challenge will be correcting data and making sure that we have live real-time access to the data, and we have regular efforts and meetings to resolve data quality problems. Once the data quality problems are resolved, we'll enable the future. In the present, even the first day that we enable these dashboards, they will deliver additional value to the company because you will be able to see current trends and patterns. The most important thing is to resolve the problem so that we can move into the future, but the benefits that will be delivered will be instant. The first question was, how quickly and easily would you be able to productize your solutions? And what are the main barriers? Well, I think we summarized by saying that dashboards add value immediately. There won't be any delay in that. We think within 48 hours, you can have useful data. It will be old data because you're giving us data sets that are necessarily not coming live from the system. Some limiting factors to increasing the utility of that and reducing time to insight will be getting live access to the project database and improving the data quality. We think there's no barrier to making these things valuable. You can start on any day and they will be valuable. Your second question was, other than issues with missing data, how would improved data collection benefit your output? Well, we think that the main thing is getting real-time data so that you can enable up-to-date analysis. And if we get data quality validation at the point of collection, so people are unable to enter bad data and they don't scribble notes on pieces of paper that they lose or get smudged or they forget or they enter the wrong number. So if we get that data, if we improve that by a substantial percentage, we'll get improved prediction accuracy immediately. And that will enable us to optimize cost in more or less real time. By reducing time to insight, will enable much better decision-making for both productivity and ultimately the bottom line. And let's not forget safety and health. The third question, which we think you should have asked us, but you didn't, is why do we think this effort was worth 2 days of our time? So I'm going to defer to the rest of our team. And thank you for letting me do the part that I've done here. And what do you guys think? Why was this worth 2 days of your time?
So for me, it was a rapid learning experience of new tools and technology, coupled with fabulous collaboration and teamwork to generate ideas that I can take back to my project.
For me, it follows a similar trend, actually. It gave me opportunities to learn new skills whilst collaborating with people that I wouldn't normally get to collaborate with different skill sets.
I found it very interesting and exciting, given that I didn't know about Power BI, and we got to learn about it on the project, on the real project, and also working with people with different background. It was very exciting.
So for me, I just found that this was a real world problem that really needs to be approached and attacked. I thought this was a great opportunity and a challenge to bring to Project Hack 6.
For me, I enjoyed working with a team of people that I didn't know to produce something significant in less than 48 hours. And I think it also demonstrates the utility of remote collaborations. And it's really great that everyone got enthusiastic at various points in the project and did something that was beyond what we might have thought was possible, and hope that, this is something that delivers improvement. That's the main goal. And with that, I think we're finished.